joining at the moment. So shall we make a start?
Okay.
Okay then, everyone. So welcome. I'm not quite sure. It's been difficult to sort of track who's been on during the day and who's new. So I'll just sort of welcome everybody this evening, because I suspect quite a lot of you that are online at the moment haven't been part of the day earlier on. Yeah, we've had a very exciting and full-on virtual international camp today with friends from all over the world. And it left on quite a sort of incredible note, really, I think, with our Ugandan friends doing some entertainments for us. So slightly different tone now, but still very much international. So going to be handing over to Sam, and he's going to be able to tell you an awful lot more, enthuse you about the wonderful adventure that is a World Scout Jamboree. So I think without more ado, I'm going to hand straight over to Sam. And what I said to everyone else this morning is, please, unless you say otherwise, Sam, people feel free to ask questions throughout. Either put your hand up, type it in chat is probably the best way, rather than just interrupting, but we can see how it goes. Over to you, Sam. Thanks ever so much.
Looks like we've already got a raised hand with a question before I even start. I don't think that. Yeah.
No, it was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
No, there is one.
There is one now. Bella.
I just want to say that my dad was a St. Bulford Kiwi.
Mm.
Was a what Kiwi?
St. Bulford Kiwi.
Right.
Huh?
Thank you, Bella.
I know, I said.
Right.
Back to you, Sam.
Okay, so yeah, like Paul said, I'm Sam. I'm part of the international team, and so this session is to talk about the World Scout Jamboree, in particular, kind of what World Scout Jamborees are, and the selection process for the next one, kind of aimed at scouts and explorers, but it's also just kind of a good general session. So I was lucky enough to attend the World Scout Jamboree in 2015 as a participant, and go last time to North America as part of the international service team, which means I worked at the Jamboree. So I've been really lucky to have those two experiences, and hopefully there'll be plenty of you here applying for the next one. So the next one is taking place in South Korea in 2023. Over the summer, so it's in August. And I just want to start by kind of saying what a World Scout Jamboree is. So World Scout Jamboree is the biggest gathering of scouts that's organised in the world. There's normally between about 30 and 45,000 people in attendance. The last one in North America, there are about 45,000 people. And you come together with scouts from all across the world. Every country where they're scouting is represented at Jamboree. And you just spend about 2 weeks camping together, doing activities, learning more about each other's cultures, and just experiencing the wonderful world that is a World Scout Jamboree. It's like something you can't describe unless you've been, although I will do my best. So I've got a few videos to show you as well. So we're going to start with a video of the World Scout Jamboree I went to in Japan. If you keep an eye out closely, there are some of the Devon Scouts unit in the video. But yeah, and I'll come back after that. Let me just share my screen. Right, can everyone see that? Can I get a thumbs up or a yes?
Yes.
Excellent. Think I can fly. Think I can fly when I'm with you. My arms are wide, catching fire as the wind blows. I know that I'm rich enough for pride. I see $1 billion in your eyes, even if we're strangers till we die. I wanna run away.
So that was just a video of the World Scout Jamboree I went to, and as you could see from the amount of water fights and everything we had, it was so incredibly hot. It got to about 48 degrees and the humidity was ridiculous. So I'm just going to tell you now a little bit about my experience of World Scout Jamboree as a participant. So before you even go, you have training camps in the UK, you get to meet your unit and you build such a close tie. You saw how close the units were together there. And at the Jamboree itself, we had a big variety of experiences. So every World Scout Jamboree is different. So in America, they had a lot more kind of activities that were built in as part of the site, whereas at the World Scout Jamboree in Japan, it was kind of a lot more reflective. So we did a culture, there's a culture day at every World Scout Jamboree, where every unit set out something to do with their culture, and you go around and explore it. We also did a community day in Japan where we went out into the local community. We went to schools and like groups within the town and got to experience some Japanese culture. And we also went to Hiroshima because it was the 70th anniversary. But also you do activities. We had a water activities day, you have ceremonies. So we had massive acts there and that kind of thing. And you just meet people from all around the world. And it is a truly incredible experience. And either side of that, you have experiences like hosted hospitality, where you go and stay with a scout group somewhere. In the host country, and you also have a big city experience. So we went to Tokyo when we were in Japan, and had a few days in Tokyo as well, which was absolutely mind-blowing just to experience. That's a different kind of city and living that way. So a little bit about the next World Scout Jamboree. So the next World Scout Jamboree, it's taking place from the 1st to 12th of August in 2023. So that's the dates of the Jamboree itself. It's happening in South Korea, and this is an outline of the site here. And they're just starting to release more information about what the site will be like as well, gradually. And you can said they're looking at providing a big city experience as well, either side, as well as host hospitalities. And like I said, you'll have training camps in this country before you leave, where you get to know your unit if you're not lucky enough to be selected. This time for Devon Scouts, we have space for 72 of you to go to the World Scout Jamboree, which is the biggest amount of people we've ever been able to take from Devon. So yeah, it's going to be a really, really exciting experience. So I've got another video now, because no matter how much I talk about it, I will never do justice to World Scout Jamboree like videos and photos can. So here's one from the last World Scout Jamboree in America, which should give you a little bit more kind of flavor of what the last one was like, which I said was more, like I said, was more activities, as well as kind of the global development side and the culture side as well. It was kind of two jamborees in one. like I said, that was a video of the last World Scout Jamboree in America, which was 45,000 people and had such a range of activities, as well as the culture and development side of the World Scout Jamboree. And the ceremonies there were absolutely immense. So the firework display you saw was a Disney firework display. And there's a drone show as well, which I've got a video of in a minute, which was just absolutely incredible. So the kind of key bit of tonight is, if you are from Devon Scouts and you want to go to the next World Scout Jamboree, this is what you need to know. So if you want to go as a participant, you need to be born between the 22nd of July 2005 and the 31st of July 2009. Those dates are strict. There's absolutely no flexibility in that, because those are the dates that are set globally. So if you are younger than that, you'll be able to apply to go to the 26th World Scout Jamboree in Poland in 2027. And if you are older than that, there is still the chance to go as international service team. So the UK contingent are going to be launching that in around November time, if you wanted to go to the World Scout Jamboree and work there as well. So your leaders should have application forms, or should have given you application forms. And if they haven't and they've not got them, email the email address I'll put up at the end, international@devonscouts.org.uk, and we'll be able to send those to you. But yeah, so the applications close on the 20th of October at 7 o'clock. So on the application form, it's just a bit about you, and we've got kind of an open question for you to answer on there as well. Yeah, it's just so we can get to know a bit about you for the selection. And then selection weekend is the 29th to the 31st of October at Caddyho, which is our county campsite near Exeter. So you'll have all sorts of activities, some chill time. We'll just get and we just want to see you and whether you'll be a good fit for the Jamboree and the unit. And it's just a really good weekend as well, selection weekend. It's really good fun. And you'll find out within the week whether you are successful or not. And we will be looking to offer a trip that those of you who aren't successful would be able to go on. So the cost, unfortunately, one thing we can't tell you tonight is the cost. We've not had the cost through yet from the UK contingent. The last ones have kind of been around £3,000 to £4,000 ish. But cost shouldn't be a barrier to anyone. So your leaders will help you with fundraising, but also there are grants available to help bring the cost down. And that includes your flights, your insurance, the Jamboree itself, host hospitality in big city, as well as all your training camps in the UK, unit kit, and clothing and that kind of thing. So we're going to head towards the question and answer bit of tonight's session now. So I've got one more video whilst you think of any questions, put them into the chat maybe, and then I'll do my best to answer them. Right. Are there any hands up? One time I need to look through the chat, see if we've got any questions.
There's
Okay.
one hands up there, Sam.
Ah. Right. Can we have the question with the hand up, please? So I can't see his names aren't coming up on my screen for some reason.
Timandra, it's a question from you, please.
Hello, it's Oriana.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah,
She's logged in on my account.
Just to confuse me.
yeah. I was wondering, because I will be away when the selection camp is there an option for me to go if I can't make it to the selection camp?
Yeah, if you send in your application form and put a note in the email, we're looking at ways that we'll be able to accommodate that. So yeah, definitely still worth putting an application form in.
Nikki, you had your hand up. What said Nikki?
Yeah, I'm on my mum's account. Is it helpful to learn any like basic Korean or any other language for while we're out there?
Yes, so you won't need to, but your leaders might well do it. So when we went to Japan, we learned some basic Japanese phrases, which were really helpful, especially because we stayed with families rather than staying with scout groups. So that was really helpful for us. But if you could learn hello in as many languages as you can, it's always a really helpful thing at a jamboree to have, because you meet people from all around the world.
We haven't got anyone else with the hand up. So have we got any other questions? Yes, we have. Zeus.
Oh, it's not going to be a question. It's going to be a remark. I have attended Japan and the US also, and I saw one of the comments. It is a life-changing event. So if you're able to apply, please do, because as a youth member, it will be probably the best thing in your life. But even as an IST member, both jamborees were amazing. And I hope to see some of you in South Korea then.
I have a question for Joost. Did they manage to get your tower up?
Yeah, the photo is on Facebook.
Sorry, that probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of people here, but that is quite impressive, I can assure you. So if I can just add to that comment, having, as I said, attended as a unit leader in 2007, but also as the ACC International, just to really reinforce the point that Sam made earlier regarding your ages. Basically, you only get one chance in your life to attend a World Scout Jamboree as a participant. If you fall into that age range that Sam gave you earlier, this is your chance. Don't wait and say, oh, I'll apply for the next one, because I'm terribly sorry, but you will be too old and you will not be eligible to apply. So if you are the right age and you are slightly tempted, go for it, would be my message. Right, we've got a message here. It says it's from Malcolm, but I can tell I don't think it's Malcolm. It's all these people logging in on other people's user accounts, but hopefully Malcolm knows who they are.
Oh yeah, that's my dad's account. I've got a question. So on the weekend at Cadiho, I am doing, so do you have to go to all of the days?
So it is a camp like, so it is a full weekend camp, but you don't have to be there for all of it if you've got a commitment already.
Yeah, as I'm already previously camping for the whole week with my cadet troop.
No, that's not a problem. As you know, come for what you can come for. Yeah, it's not a problem. As long as you let us know when you send in your form.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Tristram, there's a question from Tristram's got hand up.
Yeah, I was also wondering when the training camps would be if you were selected.
So that will be decided by the unit leaders. So normally they're kind of about every 4 to 6 months, but so that's kind of the only time frame that there is, because they're not set yet. But they'll be at weekends kind of set throughout the 18 months before you go, or long weekends potentially. Yeah, so but they'll they'll obviously avoid exam period, because there will be some people doing GCSEs or A-levels before they go. Also avoid things like 10 tours and all that kind of thing. So they'll be spaced well throughout the time.
Question from Bella. Oh, Gary's popped up on the screen now. Sorry, we'll go for Gary.
Hi, this is George, not Gary. I'm sorry.
Oh, is it? Oh, God, you lot don't have to confuse me.
What sort of thing are you looking for in a scout for the World Scout Jamboree?
There's a good
Excellent
one
question,
for you,
that
Sam.
one. So there isn't kind of one thing that we're looking for. So someone who will make a good participant for the Jamboree can vary. It's, you know, it is such a life-changing experience. It can be someone who is, you know, on selection camp, you don't have to be the loudest one. You know, you could be really shy, and it could be the life-changing experience that really helps. That's what it was for me. You know, we're looking for a group of people to make a unit as a whole who will work together well, who will have an amazing time, and who will all benefit each other from that. So we don't really, you know, so there's no one thing that we can say, you know, you need to be the best at helping other people pitch tents, or the best, you know, whatever it is. We just want people to be themselves, because that's what, you know, we want to build a unit and see what we think of you within that scenario as well. I know that's really vague, but it's such a broad thing. It's a very tricky one to kind of put a finger on.
Nikki, well, it's not Nikki, is it?
No, William.
William.
What are the timings for the selection camp? Like, what time is like arrival, and when does it end?
We're just finalising that. It will be Friday evening, late afternoon, evening, and then Sunday it will be kind of early afternoon finish.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Alexander, got a question from Alexander? You're muted.
Unfortunately, I fall right on the thing, so I can't go in. I couldn't go to last times, and I can't go to this time because I'm right in the middle, just between the two dates. Is there a way? Do you go as something else to do it?
Yeah, so the UK contingent are launching international service team applications in November. So that's where you go and you have a role and you help out at the Jamboree in whatever role you're given. Yeah, and selection for that is launching in November. That's what we know so far.
What sort of things does that consist of, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. So you have a couple of preparation weekends before the event hosted by the UK contingent. And then when you're out there, so every job you can imagine within a city that runs activities and events will be at the Jamboree. So you could be on any team. You could be on you could be on sub-camp teams where you help support the units that are camping. You could be in food teams or retail teams. You could be on transport teams or stage teams, whatever you can think of there is. So there'll be something that interests you as a job as well. So there's something for everyone.
I should just add to that, Alexander. I mean, I'm really gutted when you said that about your age. That is really unusual. It usually works that from one Jamboree to the next, it does coincide, and it shouldn't mean anyone misses out. But unfortunately, as you're a good example, it does happen very occasionally. I can only say how sorry I am to hear that. But as Sam said earlier, unfortunately, there is no flexibility. It's not up to us. This is set by, well, it's ultimately through WSM. Bella, you got your hand up.
I already put this question in the chat. For the Jamboree, I'm nearly 10. What year would I be able to go?
Excellent question. So
that would be 2027.
You'll be able to go to 2027 in Poland. So selection for that will be launching in 2025. If you want to put that in a calendar.
Yay.
Lottie, you've got your hand up. It says Lottie.
Hello. I was just wondering, like, I have two questions kind of, but like, what stuff do we need to bring to the selection camp? And we live about an hour away, so like what time, like, I know you said like late afternoon, but like, do you know roughly what time it is?
Right, so for selection camp, we'll put together a kit list, but you'll need to bring obviously tent, sleeping bag, sleeping mat, pillow, bearing in mind it's going to be October. And then basically you'll need clothes to keep you warm and dry for the weekend. and suitable footwear, so like wellies or walking boots, because chances are it might be wet. And if there's anything else specific, it will be in the joining forms which we send out afterwards. But yeah, so just kind of but you will need to bring your own tent and that kind of thing as well. But I'm sure your groups may be able to lend you some potentially.
Right, I can't see any other hands raised. Has anyone else got any questions for Sam, please?
We've got some in the chat. So yes, you will need a passport and it will need at least 6 months validity on it. The one in 2027 is going to be in Poland. So I'm just going through the chat to see if we've got any more that I've missed. So yes, you will need a passport and right, I think that is everything from the chat unless I've missed any. The chat is very
There's
busy.
one about what age you need to be, but you already answered that one.
Excellent. The dates as well for the ages are on the application form, so if you didn't manage to get a note of them, they're on there. And yeah, information for IST is coming in November, and yeah, information for Poland will be being released in 2025. But yeah,
There's more questions in the chat now.
So for selection camp, if there's other people coming from your group, it might be worth bringing one tent and a few of you camping in it, or just bring a tent for yourself. So it doesn't need to be a huge one, just one that you can, you know, one for you or one for any of your friends that are going as well, if you can borrow one. There isn't a World Scout Jamboree in 2026. They're only every 4 years. So the next one is this is for Lizzie, the next one is in 2027. So the selection for that's taking place in 2025, and then 2026, you'll have your training and preparation for everything to go to 2027. Applications, your leaders should have the application forms. And should have given them to you, and if not, we'll make sure they're in the Facebook group, and if you email international@devonscouts.org.uk, we'll be able to send them over to you. Question from Alice. Yeah, we've got 72 spaces for young people from Devon, so we've got 2 full leaders, no, 2 full units, so 8 unit leaders, 72 young people attending the Jamboree. If you haven't got the forms, just let us know, and yeah, we can send them back. Over to you. Is there anything else in the chat I've missed, Paul or anyone? I'm up the top checking I've got the ones at the beginning.
I've just been looking through and I can't see anything else there that you've missed. I'm just putting in there also the link for the Virtual International Camp Facebook group that we've been using today. So that's there. I've posted there for anyone that needs it, the international email address that you can contact if you need an application form or want to find out more from Sam. Just send it to that.
So we've got a hand up from Bella.
Okay.
I'm afraid I cannot hear any.
Because my mum said, I just need some information about the Jamboree for later.
Well, I don't know about you, but I appreciate peace and quiet.
Which one? The one in Korea?
It's ironic, isn't it?
The 2027 one.
We don't have any information at all about 2027 other than it's in Poland. That's not going to be released until at least 3 or 4 years time, because they've only just had the confirmation that they're going to be hosting it. So yeah, there isn't any other information for that. I did just yeah. So Anthony, there's going to be 72 from Devon. the UK contingent this time is going to be smaller, so it's going to be about 3,500 people. Jamboree is going to be smaller than it was in America, so it's going to be about 30 to 35,000 people in total at the Jamboree, and different countries will have different sized contingents. So we're going to be one of the biggest, and then there'll be a few that are bigger than us and a few that are smaller.
I think there's a question from Anthony.
Yeah.
Anthony, did you have a question?
Or was it just the one in the chat?
No.
No.
Anyone else got any questions for Sam? We're trying to keep an eye on the chat and watching out for anyone raising their hands here.
I think that's everything. Oh.
I think while Sam's looking again at that, I think the main message, I don't apologize for repeating it, but the main thing is, if you think you might be interested, apply. Don't not apply, because as I say, you will only get that one chance, and I can assure you, if you don't apply and you live to regret it, you will regret that for the rest of your life. So please do put in that application. You've got nothing to lose other than a little bit of time and a little bit of effort doing that. If you do go along to the selection weekend and you decide, actually, it's not for me, fine. That's absolutely fine. You can still go along, have a great weekend, and no one will hold that against you. So please apply rather than hesitate. Isn't that right, Sam?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Just put your name forward and do it. It's the best decision you can make.
Well, I can't see any other questions popping up there at all, Sam, and I can't see any hands raised. So I think we probably can assume that you've done a fantastic job. You persuaded everybody. Just be interesting just to get some reaction from everyone. If you've been inspired and you're really interested in this, can you just maybe put on the reactions button, just sort of maybe put a thumbs up or a wave or something like that, just so we can see it. Just be interesting to see.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Welcome.
Well, we got a few putting their hands up there. That's great. That's just nice to know. Fantastic.
Incredibly clear. Thank you.
No problem. Any more questions, like I said, just email the international email address and we'll get back to you as well with any questions or any answers to any questions, I should say.
So I think at that point, I think thanks, Sam, so much for that. I think that's absolutely excellent. Well done. And I think we're going to move on now to another unbelievably exciting opportunity for a slightly older age range. Not much, it overlaps, and it's a very, very different experience. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about something which has been, I think, one of the best kept secrets in scouting, something called the Explorer Belt. Anyone online know anything about an Explorer Belt? If you have, can you just put your hand up or wave or something or other? It'd be interesting just to sort of get a feel for. One or two people, not very many. That's what I expected, unfortunately, which is why I call it one of the best kept secrets in scouting. Okay, an Explorer Belt. Sam's already told you that, World Scout Jamboree is probably one of the most amazing adventures and experiences you can have in scouting. I think I would also use a very similar term for an Explorer Belt. It's more of an adventure than it's an experience and an adventure. It's a totally different experience, but it is still an experience of a lifetime. It is something that is quite unique to scouting, and something that you will remember for all the right reasons for the rest of your life. Very, very different, as I say. So just want to give you a little bit of an idea about what an Explorer Belt is. In a nutshell, an Explorer Belt is a 10-day expedition in a foreign country. Now, just to be clear on that, that therefore means it cannot be in the UK. So it can't be anywhere sort of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. It could technically be in the Republic of Ireland, or else obviously somewhere else in the world. But it cannot be in the UK, and it is a 10-day expedition. That expedition is conducted as part of a small team. So you would be part of that team, typically maybe about 4, 5, 6 people in that team, similar age people. Normally, we would say that those teams need to be made up of either explorers or network. Starting to have a team mixed between explorers and network is not technically impossible, but it is incredibly challenging and very difficult to arrange. And we tend to say it's best avoided. So it would need to be a team of either explorers or network. On the first day of that expedition, you have to be a minimum age of 16. You can start preparing for it before your 16th birthday, but you can't actually start the expedition until you're at least 16. And you have to have completed your Explorer Belt, or sorry, the first day of your Explorer Belt needs to be before your 25th birthday. So you've got you've got 9 years nearly to do that in. But what I always say to people is don't just keep putting it off, because I know so many people that have done that and then they've realized they're too old to actually do it. So again, it's one of these things, if you're interested in doing it, go for it. You won't regret it. So 10-day expedition in a foreign country. You do that, as I say, as part of a small team. The whole purpose of the expedition is to explore. So it's about traveling. It's about traveling around the country, and it's about exploring the country, but it is not a sightseeing trip. When we say exploring, we actually mean exploring the people, the culture, the way of life, all those type of things. Yes, you will do sightseeing, of course you will, but it is not just going on an expedition or going to a foreign country to go and see the sort of normal tourist sites. This is much more than that, and it's much deeper than that. I often say it's about trying to get underneath the skin of the country, really trying to understand how the country works, how the people work, how they live their real lives. And a large part of the Explorer Belt is about actually engaging with the local people. So it's not about going along as a tourist and spending time with tourists. It's about going to a country and really getting to know and spending time with the local people, finding out from them firsthand what life is like in that country, how they, what their lifestyle is, what sort of their sort of what the sort of their cuisine is, what the sort of main foods are that they eat, about festivals, about what the schooling is, about going to university, all these sort of things. That's what it's all about. As part of the expedition, you also have to do a major project. And that is, if you like, the whole purpose of going. It is something that should be the heart of the whole of the 10 days that you're there. So you're focusing on that. And that could be something, I'm just using an example from last time, one team that went a couple of years ago, went to the Faroe Islands, more of that later. Their major project was about rural isolation. So everything they were looking at was about how local people have adapted and how their lives have adapted to the fact that they're very isolated by the sheer nature of the country. So that is something that has to be done, major project, and very often that can even come before you decide on where you're going to go for your Explorer Belt. You also have to do what we call 10 minor projects. These might be more fun orientated, shorter things. They might only take an hour or so each to do, but it could be things like, I remember one that we did in Iceland a few years ago, and one of the minor projects was just to camp somewhere unusual, and they actually camped literally outside the front gates, the front doors to a geothermal power station. It was just one of those bizarre things they did, but it was amazing how many people going into work stopped and were chatting to them and finding out what they were doing. You know, it was a brilliant thing to do. So there's the major and there's the minor projects to be done. Another big part of the Explorer Belt is that you and your team are actually involved in organizing the event yourselves. We have a team of people, an Explorer Belt support team, and there's 1 or 2 members of that on this call at the moment. We are actually there to help you with that. We'll support you, we'll guide you, we'll give you training and everything else. But ultimately, it's your expedition. You as a team will be involved in actually deciding, you know, making your own plans. It's not up to us. People sometimes ask me, how much is it going to cost? I turn around and say, I don't know, you tell me. It's your expedition. What I mean by that is that your team will actually be involved in working out yourselves, what is this expedition going to cost us? You need to set your own budget. Scary stuff, maybe, but we'll help you with that. Don't worry about it. Okay. So you're involved in the planning of it. Where are you going? How are you going to travel there? What are you going to do when you get there? Where are you going to stay overnight? What activities you're going to do? What projects you're going to do? All of that, you as a team decide. At the end of the expedition, on the fight, usually within 24 hours of completing it, and this is all requirements of the award, you have to have a debrief, and that's normally done in country with you by your supervisors. And then when you get back to the UK, within a reasonable period of time, you need to give a presentation. And that presentation can be to family and friends, but it's also to a group of people who will be, in effect, your assessors. Because the one thing I haven't mentioned, and I realized I should have done, is that Explorer Belt is also one of the highest awards you can gain in scouting. Most people have heard of the Queen Scout Award. The Explorer Belt is right up there, just below the Queen Scout Award. In fact, by doing the Explorer Belt, it can actually count towards part of your Queen Scout Award. So hence the reason why, you know, we're being quite specific about what you have to do, because this is not just an easy thing to do. It involves you with quite a lot of commitment and a lot of responsibility. But as I say, we're there to help you with it. So I think that's probably all I want to say at this moment in time. What I'm going to do now, I haven't checked with Trevor, but I'm hoping have you got that video lined up, Trevor? Here we go. Let you watch
Hello,
this.
I'm Jacob, and I'm Cameron. This video will provide an overview of the planning and undertaking of an Explorer Belt. We will use our own experiences of our own Explorer Belts to the Faroe Islands in 2019 to give you an example to help you in undertaking your own adventure of a lifetime.
We will be referring to Reach Out and Explore, the Explorer Belt information for participants, which is available on the Scouts website and gives detailed information about all the areas we cover.
Helping you along the way will be a mentor who will guide you through the planning process,
and a supervisor who will oversee your expedition.
The Explorer Belt is the adventure of a lifetime. It takes the form of a 10-day expedition to a foreign country that brings you a real understanding of a country's culture, people, and way of life.
It is completed by small teams of Explorer Scouts over the age of 16 or members of Scout Network. Teams will need to be supervised. For Explorers, this takes place in the country, whereas for Network, this can take place remotely. Reach Out and Explore will be an invaluable resource for your planning. It provides a detailed look at each area you need to consider.
As part of our team's planning process, we created a development plan style document, which was a one-stop shop to track our progress.
We did this by breaking down each requirement and making it into a target with action points and deadlines, which were then assigned to a team member. We found this really useful as it made it clear who needed to do what and by when.
Communication will be vital to achieving the Explorer Belt. Our team and mentor communicated internally through a group chat and email, and we also shared documents through Dropbox. Meeting in person every 6 to 8 weeks throughout the planning process was a very useful method of communication too, particularly when it came to discussing finances or route planning. Our Faroese contact communicated with us via email.
The first thing Reach Out and Explore discusses is picking your team. This is vitally important as you'll be working closely with them during your planning and will be with them for 10 days during your Explore Belt itself. When choosing a team, consider things such as age and availability, and also things closely related to your Explore Belt, such as sharing a destination, common views on a major project, and what kind of skills each team member can bring to the team.
Our team comprised of Ben and Katie from North Devon Network and Jacob and Cameron from Plymouth Network. We formed at the Explore Belt workshop in September of 2018. We found that this workshop was a fantastic opportunity to explore potential destinations, projects and teammates. Overall, we found it a very useful experience, and the guidance that was given to us by the Devon Scouts Explorer Belt support team was invaluable.
Secondly, Reach Out and Explore discusses choosing locations. When choosing a location, the best thing you can do is lots of research and be open-minded, as there may be more than one location that provides an exciting challenge. Consider the cost and your ability to travel to the potential country.
For example, it took our team 2 flights to reach the Faroe Islands, which added time and cost to the journey.
Also, think about the cost and ease of travelling around a potential country.
For example, again, the Faroe Islands have an extensive and well-connected public transport system, including buses and ferries.
You will also need to consider how safe a potential destination may be. Guidance can be sought from your ACC International. A major project will also influence your choice of destination, as will a desire to experience certain cultures or cultural activities. The best locations are accessible, are places all team members would like to visit, large enough to travel around, and are places that promote interaction with local people.
All the members of our team had a shared desire to visit the Faroe Islands. This location was chosen as it was easy to travel to and around, wasn't too expensive, was relatively safe, with a very strong scouting presence, and importantly, we wanted to explore their very unique culture.
Fundraising and budgeting is another area that you need to consider. If you're in your budget, you will need to consider large costs such as travel to your destination country and also around the destination country, the cost of kit, travel insurance, accommodation, provisions, and also an emergency fund. You may be eligible for grants, so speak to your supervisor.
Our budget was an effort that whilst one team member took the lead on, we all definitely played a part. For our team, the greatest spend was on our flights to and from our destination. Other large costs included overnight accommodation and food. We researched these costs before our trip and loaded money into prepaid cards, which was a very simple way of tracking our spending.
Agreeing on a major project is a very important step in your planning. Reach Out and Explore suggests that, among other things, a good major project is interesting to everyone in the team, is unique to the country visiting, and also encourages interaction with local people. Your major project must take about 15 hours to complete in total. Travelling around your country and meeting local people should be the important focus.
During our research on the Faroe Islands, we discovered that geographical isolation was a major factor in the nation's development and culture. This led us to our major project title, to explore how the Faroe Islands isolation impacts the way of life and how those resultant challenges have been overcome. We chose it because we felt that it would encourage us to meet more people away from the tourist areas and therefore give us a more realistic experience of the Faroese way of life.
10 minor projects are set by the assessing panel. You will receive them as you start your Explorer Belt.
During our Explorer Belt, our minor projects made us interact with local people. Our 3 favourites to complete were 1. To take a photo with the local shopkeeper. We did this at Tutel Records in Torshavn, where we met the shopkeeper called Danya, who talked to us about her experiences growing up in a small village.
2. Find out about Faroese Scout activities and sections. Local Rover Scout Elsa Maria met us at the Scout House in Torshavn and gave us lots of information about local scouting, as well as places to visit.
And 3. We visited a local farmer smallholding. On the island of Norsøy, we met Edvard, who agreed to give us a waffle at the cafe in exchange for doing some weeding on his smallholding, just below the Nollywood sign. Lots of planning before our visit certainly helped us have a very successful trip. However, there are always some unexpected events that happen. For example, when we went camping on the island of Norsøy, we had planned to do some sheep shearing with some local farmers the next day. However, the weather had other ideas, So we instead spent time travelling to the island of Sudaroy and spent our 2 favourite days there.
While it is important to have fun on an Explorer belt, everything you do must be done safely. A risk assessment will need to be completed, and you will need to consider a number of potential incidents. To help with this step, speak to your mentor and go to the Scout's website where examples can be viewed. Before you travel, you will need to be able to demonstrate to your mentor that you are all competent in several areas, including navigation skills, lightweight camping, first aid, travel proficiency, and team building.
To help us demonstrate to our mentor that we could meet these competencies, we undertook a mini Explorer belt 4 months before we travelled. We visited the South Downs National Park. As well as demonstrating to our mentor we could meet some of the competencies, we were also able to familiarise ourselves with working with a budget, finding suitable accommodation, creating logbooks and communicating with supervisors. It also enabled us to work better as a team, and it also gave us a very good opportunity to familiarise ourselves with the equipment we would be using during the expedition.
You will need to maintain a logbook during your adventure. The information you record in your logbook will form a vital resource for your debrief and your presentation. It can be in the form of something like a written book or a video. It will need to contain information such as how far you've travelled each day, how much money you've spent, and the people you have met. A full list is available in Reach Out and Explore.
We chose to have written logbooks, and we documented our experiences each evening. We also added in things we had collected along the way, such as leaflets and maps. These were very useful for when we met with our supervisor to do our debrief, when we were balancing the books upon our return home, and when we gave our presentations. Also, for posterity's sake, our team elected to run a Facebook page with daily updates on what had occurred during our time. This allowed our friends and family at home to follow along with our adventure, and was another record we used in conjunction with our written logbooks to aid in the creation of our presentation.
A debrief will need to take place between you, your team and your mentor within 24 hours of the final day of your Explorer belt, or within 24 hours of your return to the UK. When you do return home, you will need to also deliver a presentation of around 30 minutes in length to an assessment panel and other invited guests to share your brilliant experiences and achievements. You will then be assessed to determine whether you have successfully achieved your Explorer belt.
In conclusion, undertaking our Explorer belt was the adventure of a lifetime, one we thoroughly enjoyed and would recommend to any explorer or network member.
Finally, we would like to give you our 5 best tips to help you complete your Explorer belt. Number 1, always have a plan B and don't be afraid to use it.
2, be adaptable. Opportunities may arise unexpectedly. Some of our best experiences were entirely unplanned.
3, people make the trip. The best memories are memories with people.
Number 4, fill in your logbooks every day. Very small details can be easily forgotten.
Number 5, enjoy it. And the time taken in planning will ultimately be worthwhile.
Back to you.
Managed to unmute myself. Great. So I didn't introduce them, but that was Cameron and Jacob. Hopefully you realise that. And they were, as you saw, part of our team that went to the Faroe Islands a couple of years ago. And wow, what an amazing time they had. Yeah, so on the back of that, just to make sure you're all aware, we are currently working with a group of existing teams. We've started helping to train and support them towards Explorer belts next year. That's 2022. So we got teams that are now going to Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and to Denmark. We could accept more people to come along to those because we're already committed to that. So if you're interested in those, you'd need to let me know fairly soon, and we'll need to sort of arrange to, you'll need to do a bit of catching up and we'll have to see about forming teams, but that's certainly a possibility. Otherwise, this is something we're looking to run on an annual basis. So we'll be doing Explorer Belts, every year after that. So yeah, I think that's all I need to say on that. Let's just go through a few questions.
Could I just say something very quickly, Paul?
Please do.
Just to make everybody aware, I believe that there was a little bit of a syncing issue with that video.
There was a bit.
I will put it up on the YouTube channel and the Facebook group in about 20 minutes.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. Okay, so question I've got here is, can the team choose where the Explorer Belt is held? The simple answer to that is technically yes. However, what we've found is that we need to work together. It's at the end of the day, we have to make sure we can support you and to supervise you. If we have Explorer Belt teams going to countless different countries around the world, it reaches a point where we actually can't physically manage that. So there's an element of, talk with us, we'll see what we can do. But certainly for next year, those are the 3 destinations we're looking at: Denmark, Iceland, and Faroe Islands. So that's that one. What else have we got here in terms of questions? Right, I haven't got any others here. Have we got any questions people want to sort of raise their hands or just butt in and ask them, please? Because now's your opportunity. Nothing from anyone at the moment. Okay. Let's just have a show of hands. Those of you who feel inspired now, and maybe you think this is something for you, either not necessarily next year, but at some stage. We've got 1 or 2 immediately popping up. Fantastic.
There's a couple of people with their hands up, Paul.
There are now, are there? Okay. Why can't I see them then?
That's because they put thumbs up, not hands up.
Here we are. Right. So, Reese, you got a question, yes?
No, I was putting the thumbs up because you were asking if you're inspired by it.
Okay, fine. You haven't got a question then. Right. Has anyone else got a question? Is that Lizzie? Has Lizzie got a question there, or is he just putting a thumbs up again? There's a thumbs up. Okay. Any questions at all? No. Right. So if you are interested, you want to find out more, email address, I've flagged it up already a couple of times on the chat. It's on the Facebook group as well. It's a really easy one to remember. It's just international@devonscouts.org.uk. Drop us an email, say you're interested, and we'll take it from there. As I say, it's a fantastic opportunity. Yeah, Jim, I've just seen your message. You are just a little bit old, I'm afraid, to do it. Terribly sorry. Okay.
For those that can't get on the Facebook page, if you want to do the wonders of modern technology, there's a QR code on the screen now for you.
Yeah, you can all get that. Lizzie, I've just seen a message from you. Did you have a question, Lizzie, you want to put in the chat? So if you have, I obviously just want to make sure. No, nothing coming. I just wanting to check. That was all, Lizzie. But if you haven't got a microphone, you obviously can't speak to us. So I just need to make sure you type something in there and I can respond to it. Okay. Anything from anyone else at all? Any comments or anything? If not, I think we'll draw it to an end.
Lizzie's just messaged saying, do you have to speak the language?
No, is the simple answer. One of the things we tend to do, it's very much like Sam said about the World Scout Jamboree. It's not essential. It might help. For example, going to Faroes a couple of years ago, Faroese, for those that don't know, Faroes is one of the smallest countries in the world. Population of, I think, between about 35 and 40,000 people. They speak Faroese. No one else in the world speaks Faroese. Therefore, virtually all the Faroese speak English and speak it really well. So a lot of countries, actually, it's surprising. you'll be able to communicate really easily in English. But we always sort of say it's useful just to sort of learn a few key words and phrases, you know, just to sort of hellos, pleases, thank yous, those type of things, which is something that you know, you do in terms of your preparation. Yeah, speaking kitten, I mean that'd be fine for some. That's right. Quite get that one. Anything else from anyone? Have I missed anything on the chat? No.